What's up, family? Welcome to Positive Power Double XI, J. Royce Films. I'm Jerry Royce Live, and you're watching The Red Room with Shay Samuels, right here on Music Vision Television. That's right, MVTV-21.com. It's going to be awesome, y'all. So please share this file. It's going to be awesome. You know what's going to be? It's going to be lit.
Hello, I'm Dr. Eric Holmes, the author of The Power of the Sea and Soulful Prayers. That is #1 best-selling. And I am in The Red Room with Shay.
Welcome to The Red Room. I am your host, Shay Samuels. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. Today we have a very, very, very special guest, Miss Zenobia. And before we talk to the guest, we're going to talk about the topic. You know, there used to be a song, back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore, but some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. We are talking about the good old days today. But first, we're going to get to know our guest a little bit more. Hi, Miss Zenobia.
Hi, Shay.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on. Let the audience know who you are and what you are about before we jump into this topic.
Okay. Well, I am, again, Zenobia Sampson. I am a playwright, producer, a director, and also an actress. And I write my own screenplays and stage plays.
And she's beautiful. She forgot to say that. And today we're walking our blue in the red room.
That's right. Got the memo.
We're rocking the blue in the red room today, and we are going to talk about this amazing topic, old school, back in the day, how we think about it, how we reminisce on it, how we let it affect who we are today, because we're not who we used to be. Again, my favorite saying is, my mom says that she used to be a size 6, and I don't know what size, I wouldn't even put her size out there right now, but she's not anymore, and that's her favorite saying. When I caught on to that as I grew older, I realized that it is the truth. There are some things that just don't fit who we are today. Can you talk to me about that? What are some of the things you can remember and how it impacted who you are right now?
Wow. I remember being an extremely shy person growing up with 3 brothers, and we used to play around with the camera, and I would always be on the outside of the camera, you know, directing them until I got older, and I didn't even realize I was going to become who I am today.
You were like walking your purpose out even back way back
didn't
when.
even know.
Wow. So y'all were like the little the Wayans brothers and
pretty much.
Yeah. So it's amazing because, again, we were talking earlier about how you can smell certain smells, and certain smells take you back to that, like, you know, that boyfriend. And, you know, so many people thought like they were going to marry those guys when they were younger. And they look at their husbands now like, what was I thinking about? And I think that hit a spot with her. But what was I thinking? You think about certain things, school teachers who really got on your nerves. How were you in school?
I was pretty shy. I was good. I was a good, smart kid in school. But
Did you do your work?
I did.
Okay.
I did my work.
So what type of things happened in school that you would go back on and say, man, I wish right now as an adult, I wish right now I was probably like back there. What do you think now takes you back to that memory lane? And does it hold you back or does it push you forward?
Well, I think I wish I would have been more into the arts because I grew up around music, both sides of my family, but I was always extremely shy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to step out and go into the band or anything like that. I did march in a band, but as far as like doing vocals and different things like that, I didn't want to do that up until I got older. But like I said, I totally just forgot what I was about to say.
Yeah, but it's all good because we got this. So let me ask you this question: How do you handle someone who talks about everything they used to be? You know that girlfriend that's always talking about, girl, I used to have this car, I used to have this money, I used to dress this type of way, and you know you're looking at them like, do you enjoy where you are right now? Do you enjoy the space that you're in right now? Have you even taken a look around you to see how awesome your life is? Like, how do you handle people like that?
Well, what I normally do, I usually minister to them. I usually, just talk to them and say, meet them where they are.
Yes.
And just say that, you are beautiful. You don't just overdo,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have a few friends like that. I'm not mentioning any names, but I do have a few friends that will talk about everything that they used to be. And it's difficult because you see so much potential in them, but they don't see it in themselves. What do you think holds them back from thinking of who they are now, who God created them to be now?
I think their insecurities.
Yeah.
It has to do with their insecurities. A lot of things affected them when they were a child. And not being able to become who God created them to become.
Yeah. You said something that was profound too. The insecurities of who they were when they were younger, things that they've never been able to overcome. That can also be something that holds us back from our purpose. It can hold us back to, the who we used to be, why we're that person. You hear a lot of people say, like, I can't be this way because of you just don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've been through. How are we helping people overcome that?
Well, you have to listen to people. You have to let people tell who they are.
Yeah.
And then once they, tell you, their side of the story and, what happens to them. Because you never know. People go through all kinds of things that happen in childhood. And sometimes you got to, talk to people and let them, tell. I'm sorry.
How would you apply what you do now to who you used to be? Like, and how do you help people in what you do right now?
Well, how do I help people and what I do right now? I write about different things that I've been through and different things that I've seen people go through in their life. And what I do, I write about it, and I also use Bible scriptures to be able to help them overcome certain situations and strongholds, and then so they can see themselves on a stage, and then hopefully it will overcome.
So basically what you're saying is I help people see where they are right now.
Exactly.
I help people understand that everybody goes through something, and even as they play that character, they play the character as if that's who they are. And then they practice the character. Oh my God, they study the character. They become the character. If you want a good role in a play, you have to become the character. There's so many people who actually lose weight. They gain weight. They cut their hair off, but they become the person that they want to be in that play. We need to really get to that point in life.
And then a lot of times the people that, like, let's say, for instance, my cast, it ministers to them first, because a lot of times, like you just said, you have to become that character.
Yes.
So I've had different testimonies of certain actors came to me and say, wow, I didn't know becoming that character, it would feel this way of being, independent, or being, having a stronghold, or just going through certain things that the character go through. So, a lot of times it ministers to them first, and, they would say, they had no idea that they would, feel that certain way like that.
And it has to minister to us first. How do we teach other people if we haven't? There's an old saying, experience is a good teacher. And so when you go through the experiences, so I don't even know if you know how big your part is. It is a play, but you're allowing people to identify.
Exactly.
If I can play this role, I can play the role of life. I don't have to think about where I was before. I don't have to think about who I wasn't before. I can think about who I am right now. So see, you got it going on. You got it going on. You got it going on. So it's a blessing to see that. It's a blessing to hear that. So there's a lot of people in your play who probably come in broken. You don't
they
know?
have.
Do you do screenings on them even before to know like their background?
No, I just do, you know, we have resumes and their headshots, so we don't really go into their background or anything like that.
But
But
it
a
comes
lot
out.
of people come out and, you know, they tell me, they
comes
was
out.
like, wow, that character was actually me, you know, and now I see, you know, I never knew I was that way.
Yeah, it comes out. I mean, if you think about it, at the end of the day, at the end of the play, oh my goodness, at the end of the day, at the end of the play, they eventually are playing a part, but the real them shines through either way.
Right.
So yes, we're going to go to a break right now, but I just want to thank you for this segment. We're going to go to another segment. So I just thank you for staying with me on this segment.
You're welcome.
I want to leave everyone with this though, because at the end of the day, we have to realize we got to be who we are right now. We have to be happy with who we are right now, and we have to understand that everything that we went through then is for today. So if you start walking in your purpose and knowing that what you went through was because of where you are today, I think you would give yourself 100%, what teachers used to say, A+, that red check. So we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the Red Room. I am your host, Shay Samuels, and I am here right now with my sister, Zenobia. Thank you again for joining us. We're having such an awesome topic. But this segment's topic, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to be talking about things that people have taken away from us and how we feel like we have to have revenge for it, or we feel like it's an injustice, so we try to do what we need to do on our end to take it back. I'm a songwriter, so I always think about songs when I say that. Like, there's a song like the enemy tries to steal everything, but we're taking it back, we're taking it back, we're taking it back. That's a good way of taking it back. But there are some people who see injustice and they want to, there's looting that happens, there's murders, of course, that happens because they feel something has been taken away from them. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. But you know, the story touches home for Zenobia, so we're going to talk a little bit about her filmmaking and how certain things might have been taken away from her, and how redemption is happening on the other side of that taking away. So that's a good formality of get something being taken away but given back. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Wow, it's funny that you said that, because my first play was called Taking It Back, birthed out of Matthew 11 and 12. And I wrote that play as far as the experience that I experienced as far as a divorce.
Wow.
And different things I had to overcome. And God had showed me certain things that people were going through. So I took all the information and my own personal experiences and created a play called Taking It Back.
Yeah.
And I had to I was dealing with a very dark time. The person that you see today is not the person that originally wrote the play.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's amazing.
I had to literally go and take back, what God has given me.
That's amazing.
So it was a powerful testimony.
That's amazing. So you would say you actually used whatever the enemy stole from you, and you were like, let me ball it all up and let me just
throw it right back
at you. And so there are people out there today who don't even understand that. They stay in the mess. They stay in the pit hole. I mean, even Joseph, if you think about Joseph, how Joseph was like, he didn't know this, that somebody was going to come rescue him. But God's not going to leave us in that pit. So you got to understand that no matter what we're going through, God's not going to leave you in the pit. So what was your level of redemption? Like, when did you know redemption was there?
Wow. I knew it was there once because I fell into depression, really bad depression. I did not want to live anymore.
Yeah.
And I looked at my kids and I said, I have to do better, and that's when I started, reading my Bible, and God was just speaking to me through prayer and fasting, saying that, know who you are and whose you are. So I got up and I just started, doing the things that God had given me to do, the assignments, and, he stirred up the gifts, and I just started writing the play, and I said, I can do this.
Yeah.
Not only that, for my little ones that's watching me, because I am the model of victory for my children.
That's amazing. So it's amazing because now your children are watching it, and so they're also going to go through things. So our children are watching too. So if you have children, understand that when you stay in the pit, you're teaching them pit mentality.
Exactly.
You are teaching them pit mentality. So you could have said, you know what? Let me ask you this question: if you did not overcome, or you did not identify with redemption, where do you think you would have been if you just decided to stay in that pit?
Like the Bible says, I probably would have died. Not only, spiritually, dead, but I probably would have, literally died.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have never got up and just, focus on who God created me to be.
Yeah.
I'm sure I probably would have not only spiritually died, but physically died as well.
And there was a key point that you said too. You went through a divorce. There were certain things that you were going through in life, and it probably seemed like the enemy was just taking it all away. The redemption part of it, and I don't want to say it first, so I'm just going to say, how can you, what can you say to somebody right now who may be going through what you've been through? Because some people don't understand. It's like our kids. Our kids, they don't think we went through anything. Our kids are like, I try to tell my daughters all the time, like, you can't, they're like, you don't know, but I do. So for somebody who has not experienced it, maybe going through it, what can you say to them?
I would say be true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself, and you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself, because I was at the place where I wasn't loving me.
So good.
And I looked in a mirror and I told myself that I didn't like you. Like, why are you living? I hate you. You know, so you have to love yourself.
Yeah.
And once you love yourself and you know that our Creator loves you, then you get that strength to fight. You know. And become victorious.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to love yourself and just know who you are again and whose you are.
Yeah. I love what you said, though, because there's a scripture that says, so as a man thinketh he is.
So is he, yes.
And so you have to start thinking about yourself a little bit more than just, you know what, this has been taken away from me. I have been stripped from life. I've been stripped from hope. Why is it so easy? It's like going to work out, right? We go to work out, and we definitely know when we first start, you know, have you been there?
Oh, yes.
You start working out, and what happens?
Ooh, it is not easy.
It's not easy.
I don't want to do it.
You're working muscles you've never worked before. You are going to a gym with other people who probably been going forever, so that kind of gives you some level of insecurity. But the day that you actually stop going to the gym, how hard is it to go back?
It's hard, extremely hard.
Have you tried that before?
Yes, several times.
But we have to get to that point where we understand we don't have to stop there.
Exactly.
The same way we started before, we can start again.
Exactly.
The same enthusiasm, but there was something that probably prompted us, whether it was a health issue, whether it was, like you said, you looked yourself in the mirror and you said, I just don't like who I am. But there's somebody out there today who's saying, I just don't like who I am. And you've said, I've overcome. So talk to that person. I've overcome, not just in a way like they can do it, but be so transparent with that person right now that they're watching this and they're like Nutty Professor when he was like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. What can you say to that person?
I would say, again, you have to be true to yourself. You have to see where you are and the mentality where you are. And once you become true to yourself, you have to dig deep down inside and say, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know, because one of my favorite scriptures is, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. So a lot of times God would allow things to happen to take things away from you or to make you stronger. And again, he knows how strong you are, but he wants you to see how strong you are. So you have to be true to yourself, and you have to just like you said at the gym, you don't sit there. You got to get back up and say, I can do it. No matter how much things knock you down, you got to keep getting up. And then as more and more that you keep getting up, the more it'll be easier for you to keep fighting, and then you'll get stronger and stronger, like you know, like as if you're building a muscle.
Yes.
You'll get stronger and stronger once you continue to fight and then be in the Word of God.
You just said something that was so profound. You're saying a lot of things that's profound, but I'm gonna keep picking up on them, because what you said was, you know, even when we go to the gym at times, there are parts of our bodies that we've never worked before, and there are things that we've never really even known we can endure. But you said that God allowed it to happen. God allows it to happen. Like, pick up right there. God allowed it to happen. You were going through a divorce. You were going through this whole thing. Out of it came your screenplay. But when you look back, do you see now, I didn't have to take revenge. I don't know what the situation was with your husband, or ex-husband, but God allowed it to happen. Most people would say that doesn't happen. Oh, God didn't allow that to happen. Why would you say God allowed it to happen?
He allowed it to happen because it wasn't for me to deal with him. He was dealing with me and my issues. He put that mirror image in front of me and say, this is you.
Yeah.
And when he showed me, I said, that's why I looked in the mirror. I don't like you. I hate you. You know, I don't like you. But I had to go back and correct who I was back then and become who God say I am.
Yeah.
So
did you hear her? She said that God didn't do it for him. He did it for me. And it caused you to look in the mirror. It caused you to see who you really are. It caused you to see what you really were about. And I can imagine like the Rocky theme coming in your head, like dun, 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 dun. Like you really were like, I can do this. And then another thing you said, God put your kids in front of you. And because your kids were in front of you, that was your boost. That was
my
the
audience.
energy.
That was my audience.
Know who your audience is.
Exactly.
When things are being taken away from you, know who your audience is. Know that you have people in front of you that are rooting for you, even when you don't know that they're rooting for you. Know that, you go ahead and take it.
And then most over everything, that you have to be your number one cheerleader and say, even though you have your audience, your children, your family, your neighbors, or whoever, you have to be that number one and say, same way I looked in the mirror and said I didn't like you, the next day I was like, you know what, you can do it. You are beautiful, you are strong, you are brave. I can do all things through Christ that strengthen me. And before you knew it, I had a whole bunch of posters around my house, and every room I walk in, I can do this, I can do it. So you have to tell yourself, even if you got to get that mirror and say, you know what, you are beautiful, you are, fabulous. You have to, sometimes you got to talk to yourself.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to talk to yourself, and this is a great opportunity. Yes, to encourage yourself. It's a great opportunity to do that. That is our time. I thank you guys so much for joining us, and I pray that you were blessed by this. This is Shay Samuels, and this is the Red Room. Until the next episode, we see you.
Cut.
Watch the news lately. Now I can see the hearts breaking. The world's gone crazy. Enough is enough. Mothers and fathers losing sons and daughters. Senseless tragedies. But I believe we will rise up. Take a stand, never give up. We'll never break, never lose hope. See, I believe better days are ahead of us. So wipe your tears, hold your head up. Cause at the end of the tunnel, peeking through the darkness, I can see the morning. We will rise. We will rise. Yeah. We gon' shine. We gon' shine through the darkness. We go high. Even when it go low, we gon' be alright. We will rise. Keep your head up, keep your head up, yeah. Fear and hatred, they grip our nation. There's no compassion. So tell me, where's the love? Social injustice, secret motives, seem double-edged. Enough is enough, 'cause we will rise up. Take a stand, never give up. We'll never break, never lose hope. See, I believe better days are ahead of us. So wipe your tears, hold your head up. 'Cause at the end of the tunnel, peeking through the darkness, I can see the morning. Yeah, we will rise. We will rise. We'll rise. Yeah, we gon' shine. We gon' shine through the darkness. Oh yeah. Even when it go low, we gon' be alright. We will.
Is all this stuff?